Chapter 1630 Ji Shiran asked, saying what? Worryless Nya immediately continued in a mocking manner, Bai Feng actually claimed she's with you, Brother Shiran, and young Master Shen, as well as Lord Azura. Don't you think that's ridiculous? Ji Shiran looked at Yi Wanwan, a smile spreading on his lips. He answered, President Bai was indeed traveling with us today. Disbelief instantly filled the fake worryless Nya's face. How's that possible? Shen Tianqian slipped out from behind them. Why not? President Bai's been with us the whole time with the child, and we were having a lot of fun. Why did we suddenly turn into kidnappers in the blink of an eye? Kidnap? Please. How could the child encounter that kind of situation in our company? I'd bury the culprit in gold bars. The only partner in crime left was Lord Azura. Yi Wanwan was confident Ji Shiran and Shen Tianqian would cooperate with her, but Lord Azura. Yi Wanwan discreetly smiled at the man while pleading. Please cooperate with me, boss. The man's eyes sparkled when he saw her smile but immediately avoided her gaze. When Yi Wanwan looked over, all she saw was him turning his head and staying silent expressionlessly. He didn't expose her but also didn't say anything, tacitly acquiescing to Ji Shiran and Shen Tianqian's lie. Of course, it was also possible that he didn't want to interfere with this matter and was uninterested in talking to them. The Nya family didn't expect three people like Ji Shiran, Shen Tianqian, and Lord Azura to all appear at the same time and were dumbfounded, unable to react. Nya Linglong knitted her brows tightly. Worryless Nya was incredulous. How could that be possible? She clearly wanted to kidnap Tang Tang. Patriarch Nya and Madame Nya also didn't anticipate the situation to turn out like this and became uncertain. Nameless Nya instantly made a racket. Talk. Keep talking. Say that my sister abducted Tang Tang. Oh wait, my sister abducted Tang Tang with Emperor Ji of the independent state, Shen Tianqian, an heir from the four great clans, and Lord Azura of Azura. That's a fucking cosmetic joke. Did you fucking want to kill me by laughing too hard so you could get my inheritance? Worryless Nyes, and the stewards' faces turned ashen. Not to mention Ji Shiran and Shen Tianqian's identities, but Lord Azura wasn't considered official and wasn't accepted by the martial arts union. However, there was no way he would do something like kidnapping a child. Wasn't this equivalent to publicly trying to humiliate Azura by saying that? The fake worryless Nyes' eyes brimmed with suspicion. But Brother Shiran, young Master Shen, Lord Azura, why are you three together? The cold-faced and silent Lord Azura suddenly spoke up. Do I need to explain to you who I'm with? The fake, worryless Nya was immediately rendered speechless, and the man's haughty and terrifying gaze caused her to feel like she was insignificant like an ant. A chill ran down her back. He was truly the legendary Lord Azura indeed. He only spoke, but that was frightening enough already. Shen Tianqian found Lord Azura to be very handsome speaking like that, so he frantically nodded and echoed, right, Lord Azura is right. Ji Shiran placidly replied, President Bai brought Tang Tang to see me, and we ran into young Master Shen and Lord Azura on the way, so we traveled together. Shen Tianqian turned to Ji Shiran and also thought Emperor Ji spoke sensibly. Yes, Emperor Ji is right. Yi Wanwan speechlessly glanced at Shen Tianqian. It's truly scary to be uneducated. Thank goodness the other two supports were helpful. Chapter 1631 The matter came to a conclusion at this point. If it was only one person, perhaps there would still be room for suspicion, but Ji Shiran, Shen Tianqian, and Lord Azura's story all matched, so there was no way Bai Feng was lying. Could these three big shots all be testifying falsely on Bai Feng's behalf? That would be an absolute cosmic joke. Hence, worryless Nya and the confident steward and guards couldn't object at all. A cold glint flashed through Nya Linglong's narrowed eyes, but her face quickly regained its calm. She smiled and mediated the situation. So it was actually a misunderstanding. It's great that everything's fine. President Bai, Worryless was just worried about Tang Tang and your reputation is typically truly. You won't take offense, right, President Bai? Yi Wanwan smiled sardonically. Ha, no wonder Nia Linglong managed to keep herself so hidden, she manages to say all the good and bad things with a few words. Damn. Wanwan kindly took Tang Tang out to have fun but was splashed with a bucket of dirty water. Yet you're wiping everything clean with, it's a misunderstanding? Nameless Nia furiously questioned. Yi Wanwan was touched. You should at least learn from young Master Shen. Can't you at least give a few bars of gold sincerely? Nameless Nia added. Yi Wanwan, her feelings of being touched were as fleeting as the morning mist. Madame Nia glanced at her son in annoyance with a dark expression. Quiet. Madame Nia then turned to Yi Wanwan with unavoidable guilt on her face. Sorry, Xiaofeng, Yi Wanwan originally just wanted to act since she definitely didn't lose out in terms of acting, but when she actually spoke, genuine sadness infiltrated her. Godmother, it's fine. You were all just worried about Tang Tang. Madame Nia watched how the girl lowered her eyes and the sadness that flashed through them, and for some reason, pain gripped Madame Nia's heart fiercely. Worryless Nia didn't expect things to progress to this state. Her fists clenched into a death grip. A moment later, all the venom disappeared from the fake Worryless Nia's face and turned to hurt. It's all my fault. If it wasn't because I didn't do my job as a mother, today's events wouldn't have happened. I've been back for so long, but Tang Tang still isn't able to accept me. The steward immediately glared at Yi Wanwan and cuttingly said, this isn't Miss Worryless' fault. She's little young Master Tang Tang's real mother, but some irrelevant person appeared out of nowhere and acts so intimately with little young Master every day. Just what is her ulterior motive? Why didn't I know Bro Flat Top of the Fearless Alliance was so compassionate and liked children so much? Madame Nia sighed. They doted on this daughter the most, so they naturally ached upon seeing their daughter depressed every day due to her bad relationship with her son, their grandson. Nia Linglong was very satisfied by the steward's performance. She looked at Tang Tang and gently said, Tang Tang, it's second sister who's your true mother, but you act more intimate with someone else other than your own biological mother. Don't you know how much you're hurting your mother? If they looked at it lightly, Nia Linglong was reminding Tang Tang as a senior. If they looked at it seriously, she was implying Tang Tang was a traitor and helping an outsider instead of his own family. Tang Tang's face grew taut when he heard that. His normally bright and adorable eyes in front of Yi Wanwan lost all traces of warmth and a chilly aura emanated from his figure. He looked up and emphasized every word, you have no right to interfere in our Nia family's business. Mommy is certainly not someone else. Chapter 1632. As soon as Tang Tang spoke, an odd silence descended on everyone for a few seconds. Even Nia Linglong's perpetually smooth expression cracked on the spot. Shen Tianchen exclaimed in surprise. He finally figured out that this child was actually the son of Worryless Nia, and Bai Feng was probably only his godmother. Bai Feng deliberately claimed this child was her son to make him give up. Who knew he would have such a bizarre and vulgar taste and didn't care about this point at all? Earlier, this child was clearly a little harmless white rabbit next to Bai Feng, but it was like he turned into a completely different person, and maturity beyond his age brimmed from his eyes. TSK, he's truly the Nia family's grandson. Speaking of which, the identity of the biological father of the Nia family's precious grandson was still one of the 10 unresolved mysteries in the independent state. Tang Tang. Patriarch Nia was displeased with his grandson, whom he doted on and spoiled limitlessly, for the first time ever. Madame Nia also furrowed her brows. Tang Tang. You can't speak to your aunt like that. Nia Linglong acted like she didn't care and affably said, Dad, Mom, I'm fine. Tang Tang's still young, so he still has much to learn. Worryless Nia immediately seized the opportunity to unleash her displeasure and raged, Tang Tang, you went too far. I can forgive you for being disrespectful toward me and treating me like nothing, but your Auntie Linglong has cared for you so well these past few years. How could you talk to her like that? As Worryless Nia spoke, she glanced at Yi Wanwan, and her words became more enraged. You keep wasting your days with an outsider all day and follow her outside without care for your family's worries. Is a traitor like you really a member of the Nya family? Yi Wanwan's face chilled the second she heard the last part. Madame Nya furrowed her brows. She felt like her daughter spoke too harshly. However, one of them was her grandson while the other was her daughter who she still felt guilty toward, so she valued both equally and couldn't bear to admonish either of them severely. At that moment, Yi Wanwan suddenly walked toward Ji Xiuran and took the cake Tang Tang made that day from his hand before walking back toward worryless Nya. What are you doing? The fake worryless Nya was putting on the air of a mother and arrogantly yelling at them, but when she saw Yi Wanwan approaching abruptly, the woman's scary and dangerous aura caused her to take a step back automatically. Nameless Nya wiped his face and couldn't help but swear inwardly. Damn, these two people's auras are on two completely different levels. Is such a cowardly woman really my sister? Boss Famous clearly resembled his sister more. When Patriarch Nya saw Yi Wanwan murderously marching toward worryless Nya, with a box in hand, his expression tensed instantly, and the steward and guards all became cautious. Yi Wanwan stopped in front of worryless Nya, and dropped the cake box at her feet without a word. Ah! The fake worryless Nya involuntarily screamed when she was splattered by a flurry of whipped cream. Bai Feng, are you crazy? You've gone too far. Worryless Nya glanced at Madame Nya and Patriarch Nya as though she'd been wronged immensely. Everyone was expecting some kind of weapon and was prepared to act, but to their surprise, Yi Wanwan actually threw a cake, so they were reasonably flabbergasted. After doing that, Yi Wanwan expressionlessly said to the fake worryless Nya, "Look." Worryless Nya and the other people reflexively looked down at the cake smashed to the ground, puzzled. Chapter 1633, 1633 Yi Wanwan returned to Tang Tang's side before coldly saying, enunciating each word carefully, "This is the cake Tang Tang went to a cake shop to personally make today because Tang Tang knew it was his mom's birthday in a few days. Tang Tang crafted every flower and every word on the cake with his own hands. He wanted to give his mom a surprise. You publicly admonished him without asking the reason and even said such heartbreaking words. You always keep blaming Tang Tang for not being close to you, but what about you, worryless Nye? Have you fulfilled your responsibility as Tang Tang's real mom?" With every word that Yi Wanwan uttered, the fake worryless Nye's face paled a shade, and her back inexplicably felt a chill when she heard Yi Wanwan call her worryless Nye. Nye Linglong's expression also shifted, and she darkly glanced at worryless Nye. Useless thing. An imitation was an imitation. Nye Linglong exerted so much effort paving so many paths for this woman, but worryless Nye still managed to suppress her like this. Tang Tang raised his head and looked at his mommy. His beautiful eyes, bright as the starry night, reddened a tinge. "Mommy is so angry because of me. Mommy really cares about me." Everyone could still faintly see the words, "Happy birthday, Mom," on the crushed cake. The moment Patriarch Nye and Madame Nye saw the cake, they realized they misunderstood Tang Tang, and their hearts were about to shatter from heartache when they saw their precious grandson's red eyes. The two elders didn't have the capacity to pay attention to anything else and hastily ran toward Tang Tang. Madame Nye pulled Tang Tang into her arms, brimming with guilt. "Tang Tang, sorry. It's Grandpa and Grandma's fault. We shouldn't have blamed you without understanding the matter first. Baby Tang Tang, Grandpa was also wrong. It's Grandpa's fault." Patriarch Nye, who was still maintaining his status as the head of the family moments ago, was completely wrought with panic at that moment and kept apologizing to his grandson anxiously like a normal grandfather. I didn't know." The fake worryless Nye was dazed from the counterstrike. She was about to defend herself when Madame Nye looked at her unhappily. "You acted too rashly this time, worryless. If you paid more heed, your relationship with Tang Tang wouldn't have deteriorated to this extent." Yi Wanwan glanced at the cake. "Sorry, you don't deserve this cake." If she directly unveiled the truth to her parents, the risk would be too high. Her best option was to make them realize slowly and guard against her. When Yuanwan saw Madame Nia and Patriarch Nia's reaction, she knew that the seed to make them dissatisfied with worryless Nia was successfully planted. However, this was merely the beginning. Alas, this absurd commotion finally drew the curtains. Please excuse our trivial family matters. Madame Nia and Patriarch Ji said to Ji Xiuran and the others before turning to Ji Xiuran and saying, Xiuran, come visit our home more when you have time. Tang Tang misses you a lot. Ji Xiuran's typically faint smile appeared on his face. Of course. The two elders apologized to Yuanwan again before leaving with Tang Tang in tow. After Yuanwan sent Tang Tang off, she turned around and discovered that Lord Azura had left already without her noticing while Shen Tianqian was called away by his assistant. Ah, my assistant is hurrying me again. I've got to go. You owe me a favor for today, beautiful miss. Shen Tianqian didn't forget to endear himself to her before leaving. Chapter 1634. And so, only Yuanwan and Ji Xiuran remained. Yuanwan was fretting about how to interact with Ji Xiuran due to her new identity, but Ji Xiuran broke the silence first. The antidote to the love goo is being developed right now. Don't worry, Ji Xiuran reassured her. Yuanwan coughed. I won't worry, I won't worry. With you here, of course I won't worry. Then she suddenly asked furtively, but, what if the antidote still isn't developed in 3 months? What are you planning to do? There was only one cure left for the love goo aside from an antidote. Would Ji Xiuran agree? As soon as Yuanwan said that, she regretted it. Why the hell did she ask that question so masochistically? However, she was really curious. Ji Xiuran's slender fingers lightly brushed a loose strand of hair behind Yuanwan's ear, and he chuckled, his face akin to thousands of pear flowers blossoming. There isn't any what if. Amidst this strange silence, footsteps were heard behind them. Nameless Nia returned abruptly. President Bai, I almost forgot I had something to say to you. Ji Xiuran nodded to Nameless Nia in greeting before excusing himself and leaving. After Ji Xiuran left, Nameless Nia stood in front of Yuanwan and scratched his head. Sister Famous, don't take it to heart. That sister of mine probably got shocked somehow while on the outside these past few years, so there's probably some screws loose in her head. Even though Nameless Nia wasn't referring to her, Yuanwan was still speechless. Who would talk about their sister like that? Oh, right, Sister Famous, I actually wanted to see you today to tell you something very important. Nameless Nia said. Something important? Yuanwan raised her brows. What important thing could Nameless Nia possibly have to say to her? Nameless Nia looked excited for some reason. Sister Famous, didn't you get poisoned by the love goo earlier? Yuanwan's face darkened. This guy actually wanted to mention the love goo in front of her. Thanks to Captain Nia, Nameless Nia chuckled. You're welcome, you're welcome. Yuanwan was already used to this guy's shamelessness. Just what did you want to say? Nameless Nia eagerly said, Sister Famous, don't worry, handling the love goo is a piece of cake. As long as there's money as the motivation. Blah, I mean, out of urgent concern for you, Sister Famous, Dead Man has developed an antidote already. Only the female has to consume it, and the goo will be cured. Yuanwan's brows lifted at that, but she looked unfazed. Oh. He developed the antidote. That's right, that's right. Aren't you especially excited? You're going to be even more excited. If you buy the antidote from us, Sister Famous, we'll give you a 20% discount. Yuanwan's face darkened completely. Can I kill him? Where did this fool get the nerve to ask me for money? Yuanwan artificially smiled. No need. Nameless Nia was startled. Huh? Why? Do you think it's expensive? He looked like he was controlling his pain and added, Then I'll give you a 30% discount. This is the biggest discount I can give you. It can't be any bigger. No need. Nameless Nya asked, then what about 50% off? The price can't be any lower or else I won't make my money back. I'm telling the truth. My dear brother. Even if you give it to me for free, I don't need it. Thanks. Nameless Nya was taken aback by Yi Wanwan calling him dear brother, warmth enveloping his heart for some reason. He regained his wits moments later and asked in confusion, why? This was an antidote related to her life. Yi Wanwan's lips spread into a smile. Because I prefer the other method to cure the goo, Nameless Nya. Chapter 1635. Nameless Nya was dumbfounded. The other method, to cure the goo, Nameless Nya finally realized what Yi Wanwan meant after half a day. Damn. But the child goo is planted inside of Lord Azura. Nameless Nya squeezed out, you're my sister indeed. So gutsy, thank you for the compliment. I still have something to do, so bye-bye. Hey. Wait, Yi Wanwan asked, what is it? Ahem, Nameless Nya looked abashed for some reason. Sister famous, can you, Yi Wanwan found Nameless Nya's embarrassment to be a rare sight and asked in amusement, can you what? Can you call me brother again? Yi Wanwan, Nameless Nya hastily explained, ahem, I just think that it's especially pleasant to the ear, when you call me brother. Yi Wanwan's eyes softened, and she sardonically looked at the man. Call you brother? Sure. Each word will cost a bar of gold. Nameless Nya was flabbergasted. Damn. 1,000 in gold for each word? Are you robbing me? Yi Wanwan burst out laughing. Nameless Nya ground his teeth. Just wait. When I earn millions and millions in assets, I can hear it as many times as I want, sure. I'll wait. As Yi Wanwan walked away, she waved at Nameless Nya. She still had to keep conquering her antidote. The streets in the surrounding area were packed today, so Yi Wanwan wagered that Lord Azura hadn't gone far. As expected, Yi Wanwan found the black car slowly inching forward in the crowd about 2 kilometers away. Yi Wanwan squeezed to the front of the car and blocked its path before knocking on the window. The window lowered, revealing Jiang Yan's glowering face. Why is it you again? Yi Wanwan ignored her and propped her arms sideways over the window, turning to the man sitting in the back. My esteemed Lord Azura, are you free tonight? Want to have a drink together? The man's face was concealed in the shadows and remained unclear. Jiang Yan exploded before Lord Azura could speak. Bai Feng, you want to die? This woman actually dared to hit on his lord. Who gave her the guts? Yi Wanwan glanced at Jiang Yan with a grin. A foreboding feeling arose inside Jiang Yan when he met that smile, but it was too late by the time he reacted. Yi Wanwan grabbed him by his neck and lamentably said, if the esteemed Lord Azura isn't willing, I'm afraid this loyal subordinate of yours will have to lose his life. Jiang Yan never would have expected this woman to be shameless to this extent. She was the leader of a faction, to say the least. How could she do such a thing? Jiang Yan was about to erupt in rage. Bai Feng, your imagination has gone wild. Do you think my lord would be threatened by such crude techniques by a shameless scoundrel like you? Even if I have to die, I wouldn't allow you to sully my lord. Before Jiang Yan could finish speaking, the back door opened, and the man's long and slender legs were revealed as he exited the car. Lord Azura expressionlessly glanced at the girl before his extremely glacial gaze landed on her hand touching another man. Release him. Yi Wanwan smiled and obediently released Jiang Yang at once, pushing him into the car before skipping toward the man. Sure. Jiang Yan helplessly watched as his lord relented to the vixen's demands because of him. He was extremely moved. He never would have expected to have such an important position in his lord's heart. Chapter 1636. The hall was suffocatingly silent, and darkness pervaded every corner without disturbance from a ray of light. A man gently swirled the burgundy wine in his wine glass with his snow-white slender fingers, an inscrutable smile hanging from his lips. Soon, the man lightly snapped his fingers, and a faint light lit up the hall. President. An elderly man slowly entered and bowed at the man. A guest is here. The man replied, bring her inside. Yes, President. The man turned and left. Moments later, Nia Linglong opened the door and entered, showing no unfamiliarity with her surroundings and naturally sitting down on the nearby couch. Drink. The man turned his chair, facing her. His unfathomable and extremely wickedly seductive eyes seemed to contain the universe, but this pair of eyes also contained all kinds of indescribable emotions. Thank you. Nia Linglong accepted the glass of wine that a servant handed to her and took a sip. Leave. The man waved his hand and the various beautiful servants left the hall, softly closing the door behind them. Ha, why are you here? The man asked with a snort. My plan ran into some roadblocks, Nia Linglong nonchalantly replied. Oh. You ran into roadblocks? What a novelty. The man smiled, staring at Nia Linglong. I'm interested in hearing about them. You should know about my original plan. Nia Linglong's smile was extremely aloof. I found a fake worryless Nia so that she could easily inherit the Nia family. It's unfortunate that I'm not blood related to the Nia family at all, or else it wouldn't have been so troublesome. And then, the man asked with a smile. Unfortunately, the real worryless Nia stuck her foot in the matter. Nia Linglong smiled calmly. Oh. Did she recover her memory? Excitement and brutality suddenly rushed out of the man's eyes. No. Nia Linglong shook her head. The man's excitement and brutality disappeared upon hearing that, leaving behind intense disappointment. I didn't have any other objective coming here today but to inform you. Nia Linglong indifferently said, I'm not a biological daughter of the Nia family, so I can't inherit the Nia family. I originally planned to have the fake worryless Nia inherit the Nia family, but it appears it won't be easy. If I don't end up succeeding, I can only use my own methods to act. What's your method? The man asked. Nia Linglong's lips curled up into a chilling smile. Destroy the Nia family and kill the genuine worryless Nia. An icy glint that seemed to have existed since the beginning of time arose in the man's eyes. As soon as he spoke, it was like the whole world's temperature dropped to below freezing. Nia Linglong. The man stared at her. If you dare to touch a single strand of hair on her, a nefarious emotion enveloped his face. You will die miserably. Oh. Nia Linglong abruptly stood up and stared at the president of the martial arts union before her, amused. You'll make me die miserably, huh? You? Do you want to try? The man smiled. I don't have time to waste words with you here. I'm merely informing you, not asking for your opinion, Nia Linglong expressionlessly replied. Chapter 1637, I hope worryless Nia will remain safe and sound before she recovers her memory, the man said. What about after she recovers her memory? Nia Linglong asked. After her memory recovers, the man's evil nature enveloped the room without restraint, and the chilling scar at the corner of his eye looked immensely ferocious. After she remembers everything, I will personally make her suffer in hell. Your taste is rather unique indeed. Nia Linglong snorted. Who you need to pay heed to is nameless Nia, not worryless Nia, the man said. Nia Linglong sneered scornfully at the mention of nameless Nia. There's no need to worry about my brother. He's obsessed with martial arts and is now wholeheartedly focused on using all sorts of crooked means to earn money. However, if my brother really becomes a hindrance, I don't mind eliminating him. Oh. The man pensively looked at Nia Linglong. No one in the independent state dares to claim they can eliminate nameless Nia. Your brother can fight even piece of shit. Yet, you say you can. You? Unfortunately, he has too many fatal weak points. Using martial strength is the most idiotic method to reap my brother's life, but there are simply too many other methods to kill him, Nia Linglong said with a sneer. Heh. No need to startle the snake. You just need to utilize your brother's shortcomings and make his parents evict him from the Nia family. This way, the only heir will be the fake worryless Nia. As for Nia Tangxiao, he's too young and not worth mentioning. However, you must leave worryless Nia to me, the man said. My time is limited, so I can't guarantee whether she can recover her memory. I don't care about worryless Nia as long as she doesn't hinder me. Otherwise, I don't have that much time to wait for her to recover her memory. After saying that, Nia Linglong left without looking back. After Nia Linglong left the martial arts union's main hall, a man wearing a silver mask walked out from the back, his aloof voice ringing in the hall. Nia Linglong is becoming harder to control. The martial arts union's president smirked, swishing the wine in his glass. Everything's going according to plan. It won't be long before it's time for the independent state to have a change in atmosphere. It's becoming more interesting. Other people are insignificant, but Nia Linglong's strength is growing stronger, so we need to keep a watch on her. There's nearly no one in the independent state who can suppress her now, the masked man softly said. Ha! The president's lips turned up, full of maliciousness. When a person is too greedy, it's like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. For Nia Linglong, if she wanted it, half the independent state would belong to her. If her infidelity grows too strong, I'll make her regret being born in this world. I hope so. The masked man sounded aloof. Currently, inside the Fearless Alliance, Yi Wanwan languidly leaned back in her office chair. After tonight, it would almost be time for her to return to Scarlet Flame's Academy since her 2 A-rank missions were easily accomplished already. She hoped Big Dipper's terrible acting wouldn't be discovered by the people at Scarlet Flame's Academy, or else she would definitely come back and beat Big Dipper until he was dead. Yi Wanwan picked up the phone and looked at the messaging app she hadn't logged onto for a long time. Gong Su, Luo Chen, and others sent her a message every few days, mostly inquiring about her whereabouts. However, Yi Wanwan never responded to any of the messages and wouldn't contact them until she returned to China. Chapter 1638. Carefully thinking back on it, it had been some time since Yi Wanwan arrived in the independent state from China, and everything that happened in the independent state was surreal and unrealistic like a dream. She went from being an average daughter of the Yi family in China to the terrifying demoness and boss of the independent state. She even discovered her true identity. These mere few months in the independent state changed her life. Yi Wanwan's urge to find her lost memories especially intensified after learning she was the second miss of the Nia family, worryless Nia. Once she regained her memory, she should be able to easily resolve every mystery. Just what happened back then? Why did she abandon Tang Tang, her parents, and the entire Nia family and leave the independent state? Who was Tang Tang's other parent? There were too many mysteries right now, and she was unable to discover the answer she wanted from this chunk of memory that didn't belong to her. Moreover, just what was the situation with the grandpa that occasionally appeared in her mind? Why did her grandpa lie to her and tell her that her parents passed away already? In the midst of Yi Wanwan's contemplation, she accidentally caught the silver-haired man's mood journal from the corner of her eyes. Ah, little worryless, my wonderful disciple, where the hell did you go? Days without my disciple by my side are too boring. Yi Wanwan's eyes shifted, vaguely recalling this silver-haired man. Back then, if it weren't for this silver-haired man interfering back in China, her fate would have been too horrible to contemplate. Little worryless, Yi Wanwan murmured. Could the little worryless that this silver-haired man referred to be worryless Nia? With the silver-haired man's martial arts skills, he absolutely couldn't be Chinese. It would make more sense if he was a resident of the independent state. On a whim, Yi Wanwan sent a message to the silver-haired man. Are you there? Duguqiu by 1, this user is dead already, burn some paper offerings if you need something. If you don't burn offerings, you won't have toilet paper when you use the restroom. Yi Wanwan. Duguqiu by 2, this user is dead already, burn some paper offerings if you need something. If you don't burn offerings, you won't have toilet paper when you use the restroom. Yi Wanwan was speechless. Could this fool really be her master? Did he have to be so frightening? Yi Wanwan sent at least a dozen messages, but the silver-haired man didn't respond to any of them, as though he set up an automatic message response. She had no choice but to give up and wait for the silver-haired man to respond after seeing her messages. Sis Feng. Big Dipper suddenly sprinted into the office. Yi Wanwan casually set her phone down and glanced at Big Dipper. What is it? Sis Feng, I heard you asked to meet with Lord Azura at a bar tonight. Big Dipper looked secretive. How did you know? Yi Wanwan was puzzled. Of course I know. That Jiang Yan is spreading news everywhere that you're a demoness trying to seduce Lord Azura, and even used Jiang Yan's life to threaten Lord Azura. Lord Azura was forced to agree unwillingly, Big Dipper answered. Yi Wanwan, she never expected Jiang Yan to be a blabbermouth. Sis Feng, you should forget it. Lord Azura isn't someone to be trifled with. Moreover, he doesn't like women and is utterly devoted to Emperor Ji. Their love is more solid than gold. We should allow Lord Azura and Emperor Ji to be together. If we offend both parties and they team up to pulverize our fearless alliance, we couldn't take the damage. Big Dipper seriously tried to persuade Yi Wanwan. Chapter 1639. Without waiting for Yi Wanwan to respond, Big Dipper said, Oh, right, I remember something major that I just found out. Are you the Independent State's freaking handy messenger? Yi Wanwan asked, What is it? Big Dipper approached Yi Wanwan with a secretive expression and whispered, Sis Feng, I heard Madame Nia and Patriarch Nia flew into a thunderous rage today and harshly chewed nameless Nia out. Yi Wanwan was startled. How was this major? Wasn't this normal for nameless Nia? When wasn't nameless Nia being chewed out black and blue by Patriarch Nia and Madame Nia? You might have a misunderstanding about what a major matter means. Also, why do you keep probing into other people's business? Yi Wanwan nonchalantly said. Sis Feng, what should I do aside from scouting for news? Under your management, the Fearless Alliance is gradually returning to the right track, so I don't have much to do. Also, it's different this time. I heard Patriarch Nia almost wanted to beat up nameless Nia with his own hands. I think it was due to second Miss Nia too, Big Dipper responded after a moment of thought. Yi Wanwan's brows furrowed lightly. Second Miss Nia was that fake, worryless Nia. Sis Feng, do you think it's because they're fighting over the Nia family's inheritance? Big Dipper grumbled. A casual remark sounded significant to a suspicious listener. Big Dipper's casual illogical remark held a different flavor to Yi Wanwan's ears. Fighting over the family property was unlikely, but if it was fighting over the inheritance and control of the Nia family in the future, Yi Wanwan's eyes glinted. That impersonator was discovered by Nia Linglong, so she had to be following Nia Linglong's lead. Nia Linglong must have found an impersonator to enter the Nia family for a reason. Just what kind of secret objective did she have? Nia Linglong didn't have any blood relations to the Nia family, so the Nia family's right of inheritance definitely wouldn't have anything to do with Nia Linglong in the future. This way, the only people who could gain the right of inheritance were worryless Nia and nameless Nia. As for Tang Tang, he was too young and wouldn't be under consideration. Yi Wanwan trembled. Nia Linglong couldn't inherit the Nia family since she was unrelated by blood, but if she found a fake puppet, worryless Nia, who was obedient to her, it would be an entirely different matter. Worryless Nia and nameless Nia were the only legitimate heirs of the Nia family. However, as long as nameless Nia remained in the Nia family, he would remain an extremely uncertain factor, since he was the eldest son of the Nia family, and there was an extremely high chance that the future right of inheritance would end up in nameless Nia's hands. Nia Linglong probably wouldn't permit this kind of thing to happen. Hence, as long as nameless Nia was eliminated from the family, the Nia family's right of inheritance could only end up in the hands of the fake, worryless Nia, in the future. After the impersonator took over the family, it would be the same as Nia Linglong gaining control of the Nia family. Nia Linglong, a cold glint surfaced in Yi Wanwan's eyes. If it was really as she thought, with Nameless Nia's personality, it was seriously too simple for Nia Linglong to get rid of Nameless Nia and get his name stricken off the Nia family's books. Yi Wanwan naturally didn't doubt Nameless Nia's martial strength, but in terms of schemes and shrewdness, he couldn't match Nia Linglong and the fake, worryless Nia. He was a preschooler at most. Chapter 1640. Late at night, after Yi Wanwan changed into a light and comfortable outfit, she went to keep her appointment. Moments later, Yi Wanwan stopped in front of the entrance of a secluded alley. At the other end of the alley was a shabby, unremarkable metal door with the graffiti letters, LD, casually on it. LD stood for Lost Demon. This was the independent state's most famous nightclub. Yi Wanwan pushed open the creaking door. A wave of ear-shattering music ambushed her in the face and the dazzling lights sent her vision blurring. It was akin to a whole nother world. This happened to be the busiest time for the nightclub, and everyone was reveling and wildly screaming. Yi Wanwan randomly found a corner to sit down and waited for her date, bored to death. She headed out early, so there was still half an hour before their agreed-upon time. Whether it was Si Yihan or Lord Azura, Yi Wanwan found it hard to imagine either of them coming to a place like a nightclub. It was off-putting no matter how she thought about it. Thankfully, although her methods might be a bit shameless, they came in handy. Since Lord Azura agreed, he wouldn't go back on his word. As expected, when it came to the meeting time, Yi Wanwan saw a familiar figure appearing at the entrance. The man was wearing a prim, white English-style dress shirt and light tan vest with a black trench coat on top. Amidst the people wickedly reveling at the bar, his elegant and reserved demeanor was truly too inharmonious and too eye-catching. Yi Wanwan couldn't help examining the man from head to toe, and she clicked her tongue. She was about to stand up to inform him of her whereabouts when she saw a beautiful and sexy woman blocking his path. "Little big brother, let's have a drink." The woman sensually pressed closer while running her hands through her gorgeous curly hair. The man coldly stared at the woman who suddenly appeared in front of him, unfazed as though he was looking at an inanimate object. The beautiful woman was shocked by such a gaze but became more interested instantly. Yi Wanwan was exasperated as she watched this scene from afar. Tisk, he had only walked 2 steps inside this place, yet he became a target instantly. That face of his was truly a charming catastrophe. Not many people knew Lord Azura's true appearance, so the woman naturally didn't recognize him and wanted to hit on such a superb quality man. Yi Wanwan focused her vision and surprisingly realized the beautiful woman had a familiar face. She seemed to be the hall master of a division hall of the Fearless Alliance. Jiang Yan, following behind Lord Azura, immediately blocked the woman like a door god. Insolence. Jiang Yan didn't hold any tender feelings for the fairer sex, and a murderous aura brimmed from his eyes. Scram! "Ah, you're rather arrogant. No one at LD Bar dares to speak to me like this." The beautiful woman's smiling expression darkened instantly, and she drew a whip from her waist. As soon as some nearby guests saw that signature dragon-boned whip, terror surfaced on their faces. She was a division hall master of the Fearless Alliance, the Hegemon Flower, Luo Lin Na. Did this man want to die? Why did he dare to provoke this Hegemon Flower? Jiang Yan had a stifled fury boiling inside him for ages and didn't have any patience now, so he immediately attacked. The watching guests noticed the commotion and eagerly watched the show. "Let's make a bet. Can the Hegemon Flower bring a beauty home tonight? Is that even a question? Is there a man the Hegemon Flower can't sink her claws into?" A swish pierced the air and Luo Linna's whip slashed toward Jiang Yan lightning fast. Jiang Yan dodged to the side and used his palm to strike one of her vital pressure points. "Has Sis Feng arrived yet?" Big Dipper asked. 7 Star swept over the room, his gaze locking onto a certain spot. "She's here. It's over, it's over. Little Nana, I'll burn some incense for you during Qingming from now on." Swish. At that moment, during the intense fighting, the end of Luo Lin Na's whip accidentally curled toward Lord Azura. "My lord!" Jiang Yana exclaimed in rage. However, the man stood in his spot without moving, not even blinking his eyes. A second later, before Jiang Yan could block it, a slender hand unflinchingly caught the violent whip. As Yi Wanwan clutched the whip, she met Lord Azura's gaze and didn't forget to greet him with a grin. "Hey, Lord Azura," as expected, Yi Wanwan didn't get a response from the man, but she didn't care. Chapter 1642, oh wow. Awesome, awesome. There's actually someone fighting over a man with Lin Na. It's gonna be a good show. Some ignorant Fearless Alliance members who didn't see Yi Wanwan's face shouted excitedly. Who dares to steal my man? Do you want to die? Luo Lin Na roared while forcefully pulling on her whip. Yi Wanwan finally looked away from Lord Azura and released the whip before turning around. She hooked her arms around Lord Azura's arm while looking at the beautiful hall master in front of her with a nonchalant smile curling on her lips. She uttered, "Me," the second Yi Wanwan turned around, the color drained from Luo Lin Na's face and her whip loudly dropped onto the floor in shock. She almost knelt down reflexively. President. Shit. Why's it President? Luo Lin Na never would have expected the newcomer to be her own boss and was stupefied. In the distance, Big Dipper saw Luo Lin Na's expression and inwardly mocked, "Ha, only this and you're shocked. If you knew who you were hitting on, would you be terrified to death? President, forgive me. I didn't know it was your esteemed self." Luo Lin Na hastily bowed and pleaded in fright while carefully peering at the man next to Yi Wanwan. She didn't know if she saw things wrong due to the dim lighting, but the man's previously blank eyes looked like a flame had ignited inside of them after the president latched onto his arm. Yi Wanwan saw Luo Lin Na secretly looking at the man next to her and wore a gentle smile on her face as she coolly said, "Ah, Lin Na, if you look at him again, your president might do something brutal. I was wrong. I didn't do it on purpose. Forgive me, President." Luo Lin Na quickly lowered her head in fright and didn't dare to take a second look. "Wah, this is terrifying." The man's cool gaze softened a little as he watched the girl's little threatening expression. "Good girl," Yi Wanwan smiled and started to lead the man inside. Detecting the man wanting to pull his arm away, Yi Wanwan said, "Esteemed Lord Azura, please understand the extent to which you can attract trouble. I'm not trying to take advantage of you, alright? But if I don't do this, I'm afraid you're going to take all night, and you still won't be able to walk a few steps." Lord Azura, Jiang Yan behind them spat out, "Vixen." This was clearly an excuse to take advantage of my lord. All members of the Fearless Alliance are birds of a feather. Under the dim lighting, the amused guests watched as a woman abruptly appeared and immediately took away the man of the hegemon flower, Luo Lin Na, in front of her. The majority of the guests didn't recognize Yi Wanwan though. Luo Lin Na had a fiery and explosive temper, but she watched her man being stolen away and didn't do anything. Instead, she stood there fearfully and didn't even dare to protest. "Fuck me. What's going on? Just who's that woman? I don't know." The other guests didn't understand the situation, but there was no way the group from the Fearless Alliance didn't recognize their own president. After taking a good look at the woman, the previously hollering spot transformed into a graveyard, silent without a decibel of sound. What did they just see? Yi Wanwan was waiting intently for Lord Azura earlier and didn't know many people from the Fearless Alliance, so she didn't notice her own people here. After seeing Big Dipper and Seven Star, she finally realized which faction was in the center. She naturally had to go over and greet them. The moment Yi Wanwan arrived, the previously crazily partying group straightened their backs in a wave like a group of grade schoolers seeing their teacher. President. Have a seat, President." Yi Wanwan nodded her head but waved her hand with a smile. "No need, your president is very busy tonight, so do as you please." Chapter 1643 HM. I'll be very busy tonight. Why, do these words sound wrong? Sent off by gazes from the Fearless Alliance members, Yi Wanwan led the man to a corner in the bar and sat down. As for Jiang Yan, he guarded the table without straying an inch like a door guard. Yi Wanwan didn't mind being strictly guarded though. She'd still do whatever she needed to do. Nearby, the Fearless Alliance members relaxed with lingering trepidation. I was scared to death. Right? I didn't expect to run into the president here. Luo Lin Na was on the brink of tears. She hastily picked up a glass and chugged it down to soothe her shock. I'm the one who's scared to death, alright? It's an utter miracle that I managed to return. After all, she was basically trying to steal food from the mouth of a tiger just now. Big Dipper chuckled and threw some seeds into his mouth. You're scared to death just like that? If you knew who you were hitting on just now, wouldn't your spirit disperse? Huh, the man I was hitting on just now. Who is he? Luo Lin Na didn't understand. Big Dipper winked. Guess. Luo Lin Na was exasperated. Say, Brother Big, don't leave me hanging in this kind of situation. Big Dipper laughed. You're better off clueless. I'm really afraid something would happen to you from fright. Luo Lin Na drank some whiskey and raised her brows. Just who is he? If it wasn't because the president took a liking to that man, there really aren't many men I wouldn't dare to hit on in the independent state, alright? Unless he's Lord Azura. She randomly added the last part. Big Dipper bluntly stared at her and gave her a meaningful look before airily saying, Congratulations, you answered right. PAH, a coughing fit took Luo Lin Na by storm, and her voice was about to pierce through the ceiling. What did you just say? Big Dipper had a smug expression. I'm saying, the person you just hit on was Lord Azura. Are you fucking messing with me? He's Lord Azura. Luo Lin Na doubted whether this was the truth. Big Dipper rolled his eyes. Please. I personally saw him myself earlier. Could I have the wrong person? Damn. Isn't the president messing around too far this time? Wait, no, that's not the point. Luo Lin Na trembled fiercely, her face ghastly pale. How about I use my whip and hang myself? Heavens. That man is Lord Azura. Seriously? Is the president meeting Lord Azura to discuss official business? Ah, forget it, how could it be official business? Who would ask someone to meet at a bar this late at night for official business? Let's not fool ourselves, what in the world is our president saying? What is it? Everyone curiously stared at the table in the corner after their shock subsided. At the same time, Yi Wanwan looked at the man in front of her with a smile. It's been a long time since we've met, esteemed Lord Azura. Did you miss me? The music from the stage suddenly became ear-shatteringly loud, so the man only saw her lips moving but didn't understand what she said, causing his brows to furrow slightly. Yi Wanwan acted like she expected this and suddenly leaned in close to the man's ears and repeated her words, It's been a long time since we've met, esteemed Lord Azura. Did you miss me? The girl's sudden approach led to her warm breath washing over his ear, her voice was soft and sweet. The man felt like a jolt of electricity was gushing through his nerves, and his back instantly stiffened, causing him to automatically lean back. Chapter 1644 Behind them, Jiang Yan's eyes were about to bulge out. However, Yi Wanwan only spoke a sentence after leaning over and she swiftly pulled back, so Jiang Yan managed to hold back. He still fumed incessantly though. The volume of the music abated a little, and the man quietly watched the girl speaking, fire and ice brewing in his eyes. Do you treat every man like this, President Bai? Yi Wanwan supported her chin with her hand and sipped from her glass. With raised brows, she asked, Can I take this as the esteemed Lord Azura getting jealous? The man was silent for a moment before evading the question. Why did you ask to meet with me? Yi Wanwan sounded shocked. A girl like me asking you to meet at a bar this late at night, what else could it be for? Could it be? I'm not obvious enough in my pursuit of you. Lord Azura, Jiang Yen. Vixen. Yi Wanwan had a regretful expression. Alright, fine. It's my fault. I should be more obvious. After saying that, she stood up abruptly and walked toward the stage. Yi Wanwan stopped next to the DJ and quietly said something to him. The DJ bobbed his head and the music in the club swiftly changed to another song. Yi Wanwan picked up the microphone and ascended the stage, taking into her arms a guitar borrowed from the lead singer. Good evening, everyone. Yi Wanwan sat down on the tall stool placed on the stage and smiled. Oh, the Fearless Alliance members in the center booth whistled and cheered. Shit, what's the president doing? She's my sis Feng indeed. I just knew something big would happen tonight. My decision to come here to watch over her was right. I'm going to sing a song for a slow-witted friend. As Yi Wanwan said that, her dazzling eyes glanced at a certain spot below the stage under the resplendent spotlight. Oh. Damn. Is the president going to confess to Lord Azura in public? But that's Lord Azura. The president wants to be launched into outer space. My lord. This by Feng. She's simply too insolent. Jiang Yen was on the brink of exploding from rage, but unfortunately, his master didn't say anything, so he couldn't act rashly. The man's unfathomable eyes were solely focused on the girl on the stage. The girl gently strummed the guitar to tune the sound. This was a song she learned by chance back in China. Thinking about it now, it was rather fitting. An energetic and lively prelude started playing. Yi Wanwan held the guitar and started singing the first line with closed eyes while concentrating. You have an allure that shatters the distance of time and space. I know, I can't let you go. I can't forget you. Memories of you haunt every city I go. The girl wore a clean and simple outfit with her hair pulled into a simple ponytail and sat on the stool casually, her fair, jade-like skin seeming to glow underneath the spotlight. The moment she closed her eyes, it was like all the light in the world fell on her. Memories of you haunt every city I go. Even if the moon clashes with the earth, I want to be with you. No matter how wonderful this world is, it's no match for your perfection. When Yi Wanwan sang that last line, she opened her eyes, and her gaze shot toward a certain corner of the bar like the starry sky shedding light to the night. The hegemon flower, Luo Linna, clutched her pounding heart with flushed red cheeks. Fuck me. I'm shot. Boss is too good at flirting. The alley after a shower, the roses blooming everywhere, how beautiful is our love, like the lingering rays of the setting sun. Lean against my shoulder, and you can drift to sleep. Under the stage, no one noticed that the perpetually chilly like an iceberg man had a softness in his eyes never seen before. Chapter 1645. What stirred the man wasn't only the song she chose and her voice, it was the loneliness that flitted through her smiling eyes after she sang, Lean against my shoulder, and you can drift to sleep. Under the stage, 7-Star watched as the room became more and more out of control and severely glanced at the jeering Big Dipper. Are you done? Big Dipper finally remembered that he came to watch Sis Feng to make sure she stayed out of trouble and said with embarrassment, I'll just watch a little longer. A little longer. After all, this kind of scene only happened once every millennium. 7-Star didn't hesitate and directly picked Big Dipper up by the back of his lapels and chased after Yi Wanwan. Outside the club, after disconnecting from the clamor and blinding light, the world returned to tranquility. Yi Wanwan felt a bit dizzy. No way, right? I just drank a few sips, so why am I drunk already? Could it be that it's not the wine that intoxicates but the drinker who gets himself drunk, and I'm drunk from beauty? Yi Wanwan grumbled in a daze. Jiang Yen, does this woman's every word have to take advantage of my master? My master is sacrificing too much for me. Under the moonlight, Yi Wanwan stood under the eaves of the building and stared at the man in front of her. She placed her hand on his shoulder and asked, "My esteemed Lord Azura, do you still need me to be more obvious?" "I don't understand what you mean, President Bai," the man expressionlessly replied. Yi Wanwan smiled. "We've circled around each other for so long, and both of us are well aware, so do we really need to keep competing with our acting skills?" Lord Azura stared at her smile, her singing still ringing in his mind. He looked a bit absent-minded and dazed. Yi Wanwan caught his inattention, and as she spoke, her hand on his shoulder imperceptibly started drifting toward his hair. That was right, this was one of her main objectives tonight. When she discovered her true identity, what she wanted to know the most was the identity of Tang Tang's biological father. A little bit, just a little bit more. Damn! Why does this guy have such good quality hair and doesn't have a strand of loose hair? She couldn't find an opportunity earlier, so she had no choice but to try her luck while he was distracted. Yi Wanwan didn't dare to forcefully pluck a strand since she'd definitely be discovered, so she secretly patted around. Yet she didn't obtain a single strand. Moreover, the man seemed to have noticed her odd actions and caught her wrist when she was about to try a second time. He stared at her, as though he was trying to ascertain her objective. Ahem. Hee hee. Lord Azura, you seriously have nice hair. I just wanted to feel it for myself. It's truly very soft. Yi Wanwan fibbed without missing a beat. This was the last straw for Jiang Yan. Vixen, enough already. You wanted to meet up with my lord, and my lord came. If you dare to act so insolently toward my lord again, don't blame me for being uncivil. An unusual cold glint flickered through Yi Wanwan's eyes. Ha, uncivil. Sure, you can try. The moment her words landed, a boisterous voice was heard from behind. Hey hey hey, who are you acting uncivil to? If you dare to touch a hair on my sis Feng's head, the Fearless Alliance will tear you apart to your bones. 7-Star immediately glared at him. Only then did Big Dipper realize something amiss. Oh right, he clearly came to dissuade Sis Feng, so why did he suddenly start helping a tyrant perpetuate wicked deeds and forcefully rob a common man? Wait. How's the other person a common man? He's a great devil, alright. How sinful. Sis Feng keeps adding fuel to the fire. If it weren't for the fact that Lord Azura was poisoned by love goo and couldn't kill Sis Feng, the Fearless Alliance might have turned into a pile of ashes already. Chapter 1646. Jiang Yan intently stared at Big Dipper and 7-Star with a deep frown. This vixen actually gathered a group to snatch my master. For me, my master truly. Jiang Yan was deeply moved. You want to die? A cold glint flashed through Jiang Yan's eyes as he pointed at Big Dipper and shouted. Misunderstanding, it's all a misunderstanding. Wait, who the fuck are you talking about who wants to die? You door god, you guard dog. Pa! Big Dipper indignantly cursed at Jiang Yan, livid. 7-Star glanced at Big Dipper. Do you still remember what you came here to do? Big Dipper was startled. Oh, we seem to have gone off track. Ahaha, even if you're a guard dog, you're still a good dog. Misunderstanding, it's all a misunderstanding. Big Dipper swiftly walked toward Yi Wanwan and said with a grin, Sis Feng, you drank too much. Let's hurry and return. There are still many matters waiting for you to handle back at the Alliance, Sis Feng. Big Dipper grabbed Yi Wanwan's arm and tried to leave this place. However, the second Big Dipper touched Yi Wanwan's hand, he felt like ice encased his entire body and he involuntarily shivered. Who? There's a murderous aura. Who wants to sneakily attack me? Big Dipper cautiously examined his surroundings, but there was nobody aside from Lord Azura expressionlessly staring at him. Yi Wanwan was exasperated. Why did this fool come over here? He was too tactless. Couldn't he tell she wasn't done with Lord Azura yet? She still hadn't obtained a piece of Lord Azura's hair. The other purpose could be forgotten, but this was at least an S-rank mission at Scarlet Flame's Academy. Next to them, 7-Star sighed and slowly walked up. He grabbed Big Dipper by his lapels and quickly dragged him to the car. Master, we should go. There's something wrong with this vixen's head. Who knows what she could do later, Jiang Yan carefully said to Lord Azura. Lord Azura expressionlessly turned around and left. After entering the car, Si Yihan's brows locked together. The current situation had progressed in the complete opposite direction of what he had hoped. If this continued, it would be almost impossible to make Yi Wanwan leave the independent state and return to China. It wasn't that there weren't any solutions to make Yi Wanwan return to China. He would need to restore his identity as Si Yihan. At that moment, 7-Star, Big Dipper, and Yi Wanwan arrived at the Fearless Alliance's building. After Yi Wanwan exited the car, she headed straight inside the headquarters. Good evening, President. The Fearless Alliance members on guard that night immediately straightened their backs and plucked up their energy, saluting Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan greeted the guards and headed to her office. Big Dipper and 7-Star also entered a moment later. Sis Feng, it hasn't been peaceful in the independent state lately. We should avoid provoking people from prison, Big Dipper hastily said to Yi Wanwan as soon as he entered the office. Prison? Yi Wanwan was startled. Who's from prison? Lord Azura. Azura's one of the 3 core factions of prison. Big Dipper said. Yi Wanwan, who needs a reminder from you? Of course I know. Sis Feng, when will you go back to Scarlet Flame's Academy? 7-Star asked her. The mission was finished now, so it was almost time for her to return to Scarlet Flame's Academy. Within the next 2 days, Yi Wanwan replied. Before returning to Scarlet Flame's Academy, she still had something to take care of, but it would take 2 days at most. Chapter 1647, Sis Feng, I received a piece of news, but I don't know whether to tell you. 7-Star looked hesitant. Speak. Yi Wanwan frowned lightly. Had 7-Star mixed with Big Dipper too long? Why was he so fussy now? After Sis Feng disappeared from the Fearless Alliance, a few of our Fearless Alliance's previous core members were held captive due to war. Over the years, the elders have sent members from our intelligence department to investigate their whereabouts. The newest information came yesterday and said they were in China, 7-Star said slowly. Yi Wanwan turned pensive when she heard that. Shortly after she came to the Fearless Alliance, she heard the Fearless Alliance triggered many wars after Bro Flattop disappeared, and some core members were captured. No further words were heard from them. Who could have expected those captured core members from the Fearless Alliance would show up in China? It's an utter humiliation. Big Dipper was incensed. How glorious is our Fearless Alliance? How could our core members be captured? 7-Star glanced at Big Dipper. If it weren't for those core members back then, the Fearless Alliance might not have been able to hold on until Sis Feng returned. Big Dipper laughed in embarrassment and quickly said, what I meant was that those people who captured our Fearless Alliance's core members were simply too shameless. They should be hacked into 1,000 pieces and killed. Do you know which faction did it? Yi Wanwan asked 7-Star. The Fearless Alliance made too many enemies back then and fought with countless factions, so, we don't have any leads anymore, 7-Star answered truthfully. China, Yi Wanwan murmured. She coincidentally also planned on returning to China soon. Her current position inside the Fearless Alliance was very stable, so it was time to make some advances. Otherwise, it wouldn't be good if she held the title of the Fearless Alliance's president without contributing anything to the Fearless Alliance itself. She herself would be embarrassed. Okay. Yi Wanwan slapped the table. Big Dipper jolted in fright and turned to her in shock. Prepare. Help me gather the strongest elite members of the Fearless Alliance so that they can go to China with me, Yi Wanwan ordered with a smirk. Big Dipper was startled. Ha! Go to China. Sis Feng, China is thousands of miles from the Fearless Alliance. It would be fine if our enemies are small in number, but if they aren't, I'm afraid something might go wrong. The most troublesome thing is that we aren't familiar with China, Big Dipper hastily explained. Yuan, you aren't familiar, but I'm familiar. You don't have to worry about that, I have plans in the works. Just do as I say, Yuan said. Upon seeing that Yuan had made up her mind, Big Dipper could only helplessly nod and agree. After all, Sis Feng gave her orders already. What else could he say? The next day, in the early morning, Yuan went to the Nie residence to see Tang Tang and bid farewell to Madame Nie. After all, after returning to Scarlet Flame's academy, her next step would be to head to China and accept the mission of eliminating traitor mercenaries there while she was at it, so it might be a while before she returned. Inside the Nie residence's living room, Yuan served Madame Nie a cup of tea. Next to them, worryless Nie coldly watched Yuan with contempt brimming from her eyes. Wan, I heard you're attending Scarlet Flame's academy. Madame Nie asked Yuan while looking at her. Chapter 1648, Mom, I've been enrolled for many days, Yuan answered with a smile. Nice. Madame Nie nodded with satisfaction. Worryless and Linglong both studied at Scarlet Flame's academy. Studying at Scarlet Flame's academy isn't too connected to your background and status, but if you run into any problems there, just use Worryless name. Sure, Yuan nodded with compliance. It was 12 by the time she left the Nie residence. Yuan didn't linger since she planned to go to Rose of Death's base and see how its formation was going. Rose of Death had been established for a while, and she left its management to little Lolita and Luying without much hovering. The second she stepped through the main gates and left the Nie grounds, Nameless Nie popped up from nowhere. Sis, Nameless Nie called her. Yuan halted in her steps and turned around. Nameless Nie looked a bit disheveled, and his state of mind didn't seem too great. What happened? Yuan furrowed her brows lightly. She heard Nameless Nie had an argument with his family. Not much. I just had a fight with Dad and Mom, Nameless Nie replied with a sigh. What was the reason? Yuan asked. It's nothing. Just some tiny, trivial matters, Nameless Nie answered. Since Nameless Nie didn't seem too willing to explain in detail, Yuan didn't pursue the matter. Considering Nameless Nie's personality, it would be very difficult to make him loosen his lips unless he wanted to talk. Say. After Dad and Mom pass from this world, who will inherit the Nie family? Yuan asked with a meaningful look at Nameless Nie. She absolutely couldn't clearly talk about some matters with Nameless Nie considering his personality, but it wasn't a bad option to go at it in a slightly roundabout way. Nameless Nie supported his elbow with one hand and rubbed his chin with the other pensively. A moment later, he asked with displeasure, Sis, you have an unlucky mouth. Dad and Mom are perfectly fine. Why would they die? Yuan, the saying, a weak teammate does you more harm than a strong enemy, was right. Having a teammate like Nameless Nie was seriously too harmful. I was just making an analogy. What are you so aggravated about? Yuan glanced at him. If it's an analogy, then, after Dad and Mom die, the Nie family. I'm the oldest, so of course I'll be the one inheriting it. Nameless Nie boasted with certainty. And, Yuan nodded lightly and asked with a smile, what if you didn't inherit it? Who'd inherit it then? What if I didn't inherit? Nameless Nie was startled. Why wouldn't I inherit? Who'd inherit if I didn't inherit? The Nie family has so many riches, who would obtain all the money if not me? Yuan sighed. How did she have a biological brother like this? Did Dad and Mom save all their brains for her? They should have at least given a little to him. Stop spouting nonsense. Who'd inherit it if you didn't inherit it? Yuan frowned deeply. If I don't inherit the Nie family, then it's definitely my second sister who'd inherit it. If my second sister doesn't inherit, then it can only be Nie Linglong. Oh wait, Nia Linglong doesn't have any blood relations with the Nia family, so she can't inherit it, so it would be Tang Tang inheriting it. But wait, Tang Tang's still young, so he can't inherit it. Anyway, it has to be my second sister, nameless Nia provided his analysis of the matter. Nice job. So if you keep angering dad and mom and go too far and they kick you out of the Nia family, you'd suffer a great loss. The right of inheritance would fall to someone else's hands. Think about it, the Nia family is so rich. All those gold bars, gold bricks, the stacks of money, everything. Yi Wanwan kept shaking her head lamentably while looking at nameless Nia. Chapter 1649. Nameless Nia was astonished. How did you know the Nia family was so rich? You saw it? Rubbish. Yi Wanwan tried to keep a firm hold over her patience and said, the Nia family is one of the 4 great clans in the independent state. They might not compare to the Shen family in wealth, but how could they lack in wealth? Properties and such are secondary, what's most important is money, right? Of course. Money is most important. Nameless Nia nodded adamantly. So remember, no matter what happens, you can't have a fallout and fight with dad and mom, Yi Wanwan seriously said to nameless Nia while staring at him. Yes. You're right, sis. I can't alienate myself from money. No wait, I have to obey and revere dad and mom. Nameless Nia looked contemplative. Yi Wanwan was sincerely worried about nameless Nia from the bottom of her heart. With his personality, he was too susceptible of a target. He couldn't protect himself against schemes at all and would even help his trafficker count money after being sold. If anything happens to you, call me ASAP. Yi Wanwan gave one more reminder to nameless Nia and turned to leave. If Nia Linglong and the fake worryless Nia really wanted to target nameless Nia, Yi Wanwan couldn't sit back and watch. With her standing behind nameless Nia, who knew who would come out on top? Mom liked her a lot at the moment, but she still needed to work on dad. After all this time, Yi Wanwan obtained some understanding of Patriarch Nia, her biological father. He indulged the impersonator more than even Madame Nia. Yi Wanwan didn't blame her real parents for this though. After all, Madame Nia and Patriarch Nia hadn't seen worryless Nia many times, and she was frequently absent from her parents' sides even before going missing for many years. Hence, it was very normal that her parents didn't recognize her. What would be absurd was if they recognized her at first sight. A moment later, Yi Wanwan reached a certain suburb and arrived in front of a large manor. Little sister, this isn't somewhere you should be. Before Yi Wanwan could enter, a string of strange laughter rang out from somewhere unknown. Yi Wanwan hadn't visited the Rose of Death's headquarters in a long time, and they probably recruited many strong new members lately, so it was reasonable that they didn't recognize her. Yi Wanwan didn't have a chance to respond before a breeze brushed past her and a woman wearing a mask appeared next to her in the blink of an eye. Are Lu Ying and old Jiang here? Yi Wanwan softly asked while looking at the masked woman. The masked woman was startled. Who are you? Black Widow, Yi Wanwan replied. The masked woman suddenly started laughing. Oh. You say you're Black Widow. Why didn't I know that Black Widow was so young? Little sister, did you know that pretending to be Black Widow will bring calamity to your whole family? Who are you calling a pretender? The Rose of Death's copyright is in my hands. If I wanted to, I could create a white widow or a green widow. Don't you know what a copyright is? Boss. An elderly man walked out of the manor and was shocked upon seeing Yi Wanwan. 9 tails. That's our boss, Black Widow, the elderly man hastily said to the masked woman. What? Chapter 1650. The masked woman quickly took off her mask, revealing a good-looking face with intense shock evident in her eyes. The young woman before her was actually the leader of the Rose of Death, the legendary Black Widow? How could she have believed it when this young woman claimed she was Black Widow just now? This subordinate deserves to die. In a flash, the masked woman knelt down on one knee next to Yi Wanwan with terror on her face. What kind of joke was this? She actually spoke to Black Widow like that just now. The ignorant are innocent. Yi Wanwan smiled lightly and gently pulled the masked woman up by her arm. The masked woman looked flattered and overwhelmed, tensely staring at Yi Wanwan from the side. Boss, this is Nine Tails. She's new to the Rose of Death and was once an S+ rank mercenary from Stars and Sun Academy, the elderly man introduced her to Yi Wanwan. Nine Tails, Yi Wanwan looked pensive. She had heard of this alias before. You're the defected mercenary who escaped after killing several S+ rank mercenary students from Stars and Sun Academy? Yi Wanwan asked. That's right. The woman nodded, confirming it. She was a defected mercenary indeed. No wonder, Yi Wanwan suddenly recalled that she saw a mission related to Nine Tails when she was at Scarlet Flames Academy's mission issuance board. Either kill or capture Nine Tails alive, someone who was S-rank herself. She didn't expect this defected mercenary from Stars and Sun Academy to have joined her Rose of Death group. Boss. You don't mind that I'm a defected mercenary, and might attract retaliation from Stars and Sun Academy later, right? Nine Tails frowned deeply and anxiously stared at Yi Wanwan. Nine Tails herself didn't expect a formidable faction to dare to take her in after becoming a defected mercenary. Moreover, this formidable faction was the legendary Rose of Death. Yi Wanwan immediately sunk into contemplation. The more silent Yi Wanwan became, the more nervous and dejected Nine Tails became. A moment later, Yi Wanwan looked up at Nine Tails and asked aloofly, "What? You think my Rose of Death would be scared of the mere Stars and Sun Academy?" Nine Tails' dejection and nervousness disappeared instantly, and she vehemently shook her head. Of course not. Stars and Sun Academy isn't worth mentioning in my eyes, Yi Wanwan indifferently said. Although Yi Wanwan was saying that, she was trembling inwardly. Was she boasting too far? After all, one of the three great academies wasn't a joke. Ha, Nine Tails, what are you worried about? Did you think the Rose of Death would be scared of Stars and Sun Academy? Perform well, and perhaps the boss will eradicate Stars and Sun Academy for you when she's in a good mood one day, the elderly man interjected. Yes. Nine Tails nodded frantically. Yi Wanwan, eradicate your ass. Soon, Yi Wanwan followed the elderly man and Nine Tails inside the manor. After learning of Yi Wanwan's arrival, Luying, Old Jiang, and the others immediately came out to receive her. Although they couldn't match these new members of the Rose of Death in terms of martial strength, they were skilled at establishing rules and order, so they could be considered as talented manager types. Yi Wanwan knew everything there was to know about Luying, Old Jiang, and the other group, so allowing them to be in management roles not only satisfied their vanity and ego but also set her own mind at ease. Chapter 1651, Sis Feng, Luying called with a faint smile. Luying felt very grateful toward Yi Wanwan actually. If it weren't for her, how could he have come to the independent state and advanced to the top of the totem pole and managed these experts who were hundreds and thousands of times stronger than him? Master. Little Lolita, Fatty, and the rest of their group swiftly walked over and greeted her. Accompanied by everyone, Yi Wanwan entered the living room. Luying took out a document related to the division of manpower in the Rose of Death and handed it to Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan took the document and carefully examined it. Recently, the Rose of Death recruited 3 S-rank mercenaries, 1 S+ rank mercenary, and hundreds of exceptional experts. Sis Feng, the more people we recruit, the larger our expenses get. The last page is our financial report, Luying added with a furrow of his brows. Yi Wanwan immediately flipped to the last page. It had to be said that the Rose of Death's financial expenses were quite exorbitant lately. However, if an organization didn't have money, how could it strengthen? If they couldn't even afford to eat, who would be willing to join an organization that caused them to starve? Who cared if the leader was Black Widow? Even the Emperor of Heaven himself couldn't attract anyone. Currently, the Rose of Death is still starting off, so it's very difficult to make any profits, old Jiang sighed. There's a way out, Lu Ying stared at Yuan Wan, hesitating to speak. Speak, speak, Yuan Wan said. We can imitate the Fearless Alliance. As long as we imitate the Fearless Alliance, our finances and funds won't be a problem at all, and we would even earn a lot of money, Lu Ying replied earnestly. Imitate the Fearless Alliance. Little Lolita was dumbfounded. What do you mean? Why would we suddenly imitate the Fearless Alliance? Heidi also nodded repeatedly. Yeah. Could it be that the Fearless Alliance is super talented at earning money? Talented? Ha! What talent is there to the Fearless Alliance's money earning? They solely rely on stealing. The bearded man sneered. The Fearless Alliance is the independent state's infamous boss bandit. That's right. Lu Ying nodded lightly and looked at Yuan Wan. If the Rose of Death can imitate the Fearless Alliance, the hole in our finances would be filled instantly. Yuan Wan, having one shameless organization is enough. Another one. Do I freaking want to lose all shame? Sis Feng, what do you think? Lu Ying asked her. Yuan Wan pretended to think about it before promptly shaking her head. No need. I'll resolve the deficit in our finances using the Fearless Alliance's finances. The Rose of Death and the Fearless Alliance are brother organizations, so one of them being shameless is enough. Lu Ying, old Jiang, little Lolita, Lu Ying and the other 5 people all knew that Yuan Wan was also the president of the Fearless Alliance, by Feng, aside from being the leader of the Rose of Death. However, hearing the president of the Fearless Alliance calling the Fearless Alliance shameless, it felt weird for some reason. If the Rose of Death used the money that the Fearless Alliance stole to develop and expand itself, wouldn't that be more shameless though? Yuan Wan immediately called the Fearless Alliance's finance department and told them to transmit a sum of money over. It wasn't a lot, but it should be enough to last the current Rose of Death a month. Also, although the independent state's businesses have been monopolized, the Rose of Death has many experts, so they can accept more mercenary missions, Yuan Wan instructed them. Chapter 1652. It wasn't a permanent solution for the Rose of Death's survival to rely on the Fearless Alliance's finances. Eventually, the Fearless Alliance would develop resentment and complaints. Okay, Master, we understand. We know about the mercenary side, there definitely won't be any problems. Little Lolita hastily said. After overlooking some small matters, Yuan Wan got up and left the Rose of Death's headquarters. Near the Fearless Alliance's headquarters, Big Dipper had been waiting next to the car for a long time. Yuan Wan had already decided yesterday to have Big Dipper drive her to Scarlet Flame's Academy today. Sis Feng, when will we go to China? Big Dipper asked Yuan Wan halfway through the drive. Finish gathering everyone with 7-star first. It'll be within the next few days, Yuan Wan replied. Sis Feng, have you been to China before? What fun things are there to do in China? Big Dipper was brimming with curiosity. People like Big Dipper and 7-star rarely left the independent state their whole lives. Even if they left the independent state, they would only visit the little countries near the independent state that were behind the times. There are too many fun things to do. Ha, that's great. I've never visited China, Big Dipper chuckled gleefully, anticipation evident in his voice. In the afternoon, the car finally reached the base of Scarlet Flame's Academy. After Yuan Wan got out of the car, she had Big Dipper drive back to the Fearless Alliance before embarking on her trek up the mountain. Standing in front of Scarlet Flame's Academy's entrance, Yuan Wan briskly did her makeup before entering the academy. Yuan Wan didn't hurry toward the D-rank mercenary classroom and made her way to the mission issuance area instead. There was currently a sea of people around the issuance area, so she was forced to wait on the perimeters and watch. Some time later, Yuan Wan frowned. After finishing 2 A-rank missions, where should she go to verify completion of her missions? Junior Sister Yi. Li Xian suddenly popped up from who knew where and stopped next to Yi Wanwan with astonishment evident on his face. What is it? Yi Wanwan stared at him, confused. What do you mean, what is it? Junior sister, didn't you defect? Why did you come back? Li Xian anxiously examined their surroundings. What? Yi Wanwan was dumbstruck. I defected. That's right. Our class instructor said you defected. Li Xian quietly explained to her. A chilly glint surfaced in her eyes. That instructor, Zhang De, and Zhang Zunyan truly wanted her life. However, whether she defected or not wasn't determined by him. Say, does a sideshow D-rank mercenary like me need to defect? Yi Wanwan looked at Li Xian. If a mercenary reached S rank, they weren't allowed to separate from their academy without permission and would be considered to have defected even if they switched alliances to a different academy. But a D-rank mercenary. I myself know that reasoning. It's simply a joke for someone to say D-rank mercenaries like us defected, junior sister Yi, but that instructor, Zhang De, definitely wants you dead, so he intentionally reported to his superiors that you defected, Li Xian said with a sigh. Yi Wanwan helplessly shook her head, utterly uninterested in paying Zhang De and his nephew, Zhang Zunyan, any heed. That's right, where do I go to verify completion of my missions after I finish them? Yi Wanwan asked Li Xian. Li Xian entered Scarlet Flame's academy a few months earlier than her, so he had more knowledge than her about the academy's inner workings. Chapter 1653, 1653, After you complete a mission, go to the mission reporting area, and there are supervisors there to personally verify it, Li Xian replied. Belatedly, Li Xian started and stared at Yi Wanwan. Junior sister Yi, didn't you rashly accept 2 A-rank missions earlier? What other missions did you accept? Why didn't I know about them? To Li Xian, the supposed mission that Yi Wanwan completed was definitely unrelated to the 2 A-rank people from the Fearless Alliance. Yi Wanwan was too lazy to continue explaining this matter since the explanation would go nowhere if Li Xian didn't believe it. After discovering about the mission reporting area, Yi Wanwan asked Li Xian to lead the way, and the duo headed there walking side by side. Junior sister Yi, how about you flee? Zhang De is at least a low-rank instructor. We don't have what it takes to provoke him. Moreover, he already reported that you defected, so aren't you asking for death by going to the mission reporting area right now? Li Xian tried his best to persuade her. However, Yi Wanwan wasn't shaken in the slightest. Zhang De only had the guts to deceptively report that she defected because he thought it was impossible for her to complete 2 A-rank missions. Little did he imagine that not only did she complete 2 A-rank missions, but she also completed them within a week. Yi Wanwan would like to see how Zhang De would cover his lie. Moments later, Yi Wanwan arrived at the rear mountain area at Scarlet Flame's academy, where the mission reporting area was located. The mission reporting area was currently packed with people, like many A-rank mercenaries wearing their black uniforms and even the occasional S-rank in a gold uniform. Typically, most people who came here were mercenaries who completed their missions and wanted to have them verified, so the highest-ranked mercenaries and even some top-notch elder-level figures from the academy could be seen here. Yi Wanwan saw that a group of A-rank mercenaries was ahead of them, lining up and filling out mission report forms. She had Li Xian wait on the side while she also got in line. Soon, a black-uniformed, A-rank mercenary looked at her with confusion. Junior sister, aren't you at the wrong place? No. I also came here to report my mission, Yi Wanwan truthfully replied after a moment of thought. The A-rank mercenary shook his head but didn't say anything more. A mere D-rank mercenary came to the A-rank mission reporting area to report her mission? Could it be that a D-rank mercenary accepted an A-rank mission and completed it? What kind of cosmic joke was that? About half an hour later, it was finally Yi Wanwan's turn. There was a woman wearing an instructor's uniform, about 40 or so years old, at the front. The woman peered up and furrowed her brows when she saw Yi Wanwan's gray uniform. She expressionlessly said, "You're at the wrong place." This is the mission reporting station for A-rank mercenaries. The woman pointed at the nearby D-rank mercenary reporting area and aloofly said, "Line up over there." Ha ha ha, where did this newbie come from? She doesn't even have a brain. A mere D-rank mercenary newbie came running to the A-rank mercenaries mission reporting area to report her mission? Ha, are all her brain cells out of commission? Don't say that. She's a newbie, so it's normal for her to be ignorant of the rules. Some senior D-rank mercenaries wearing gray uniforms guffawed without restraint. There were dozens of classes of D-rank mercenaries at Scarlet Flames Academy, and Yuanwan's class was but one of many. Hence, the majority of the D-rank mercenaries had never seen Yuanwan before. Chapter 1654. A D-rank mercenary lining up in the A-rank mercenaries line and wanting to report an A-rank mission truly elicited laughter from spectators. Yuanwan didn't understand the related rules, so she merely nodded and strode toward the D-rank mercenaries line. "Junior sister, you probably haven't been enrolled in Scarlet Flames Academy for too long, right?" a D-rank mercenary asked Yuanwan with a smile. Yuanwan nodded. She truly hadn't been a student here for more than a few days. "The place you were standing earlier is dedicated for A-rank mercenaries and is mainly for reporting A-rank mercenary missions. You have to at least complete a B-rank mission to report it there, which isn't something we can do right now," the D-rank mercenary explained to her. Yuanwan looked pensive. So it appeared there wasn't any problem with her lining up in the A-rank mercenary line earlier. "But I'm handing in an A-rank mission," Yuanwan frowned. Could she successfully hand in her missions from the D-rank line? An A-rank mission? The man was startled and examined her with surprise. How could a D-rank mercenary possibly complete an A-rank mission? At Scarlet Flames Academy, the ranking of all missions matched mercenaries ranks 100%. D-rank mercenaries could only complete D-rank missions at most, and once a mission was elevated to C-rank, they would face enormous dangers and might even lose their lives. "Ha, junior sister, do you really know what an A-rank mission is? Don't tell me you accepted a D-rank mission and your imagination turned it into an A-rank mission. I've never heard of a D-rank mercenary being able to complete an A-rank mission. If you said a C-rank mission, perhaps I might have believed it." Quite a number of D-rank mercenaries around Yuanwan all started making fun of her. Yuanwan was too lazy to counter them. It was fine as long as she could hand in her missions. About 15 minutes later, it was finally Yuanwan's turn. An instructor around 40 years or so first glanced at Yuanwan before expressionlessly saying, "Your name?" "Yuanwan," she answered. "The mission's rank, the process, any injuries or accidents," the instructor continued listing off. The process was very successful. No injuries or accidents. "The mission is A-rank," Yuanwan honestly replied after a moment of thought. "And," the instructor mechanically nodded before his expression promptly shifted. He lifted his head and stared at her. "What did you just say? An A-rank mission? Did I mishear or did you misspeak?" He had never seen a D-rank mercenary coming here to report the completion of an A-rank mission. "That's right, an A-rank mission." Yuanwan then handed a mission slip that she ripped from the mission issuance area to the instructor. Immediately, the instructor carefully examined the slip that Yuanwan placed on the table with a deep frown. A-rank mission, defeat Big Dipper from the Fearless Alliance. This was indeed an A-rank mission, but this mission had sat in the Scarlet Flames Academy's mission issuance area for many years without anyone accepting it. "It was you who ripped off this slip," the instructor turned to Yuanwan, questioning her. "That's right, and I finished the mission," Yuanwan explained. "Junior sister, you can eat carelessly, but you can't speak carelessly and rip off an A-rank mission slip willy-nilly. If you didn't finish the mission, the Academy will put a demerit on your records." Chapter 1655. You finished an A-rank mission? And defeated Big Dipper of the Fearless Alliance? Several D-rank mercenaries rushed forward and glanced at Yuanwan with raised eyebrows. They had seen people blow their own horns before but hadn't seen people blow it to this extent. The size of her horns probably pierced the heavens. Ha! Thankfully you're wearing a gray uniform or else I'd really think you were an S-rank boss. A D-rank mercenary snorted at Yuan Wan. Junior sister, don't deceive the instructor. The consequences aren't a joke. Yuan Wan was brimming with exasperation in the face of everyone's incredulity. She really did finish an A-rank mission, all right? Are you sure you finished this mission? The instructor solemnly stared at her. However, before Yuan Wan could speak, an abrupt voice rang out from behind her. She's a defected mercenary from Scarlet Flames Academy. Seize her. As they spoke, Zhang De and Zhang Zuinyan swiftly marched toward Yuan Wan. A defected mercenary from Scarlet Flames Academy. The middle-aged instructor and the D-rank mercenaries around them were all shocked. Instinctively, the middle-aged instructor suddenly stood up and stepped forward, blocking Yuan Wan's line of retreat. Yuan Wan remained unfazed and merely stuck her hands in her pockets, not making a single move to escape. Senior brother Zhang De, what's going on? This new student is a defected student from the Scarlet Flames Academy, the middle-aged instructor hastily asked as soon as Zhang De reached them. That's right. Zhang De nodded. Many D-rank mercenaries looked astonished, and several also wore a deep frown. She was merely a D-rank mercenary. How did she become a defected mercenary? This didn't seem too logical. Although they were displeased by this junior sister's bragging, displeasure was merely displeasure. When it involved defection, it was an entirely different story. The slightest wrong turn and she might be disposed of. Instructor Zhang De, you aren't mistaken, right? This junior sister might have shocking looks and brag too much, but in the end, she's just a D-rank mercenary. Why would she defect? Furthermore, a D-rank mercenary doesn't come into contact with any classified information from Scarlet Flames Academy. How could she betray us? A senior D-rank mercenary asked. What? Are you questioning me? A chilly glint flashed in Zhang Da's eyes as he stared at the senior D-rank mercenary. I'm not questioning you, the senior D-rank mercenary shook his head. As expected, no one dared to say much to contradict an instructor of Scarlet Flames Academy and veteran C-rank mercenaries like Zhang De and Zhang Zuinyan. Senior brother Zhang De, when did she defect? The middle-aged instructor swiftly asked him. Humph. Zhang De glanced at Yuan Wan and snorted. I issued the Academy's compulsory mission earlier, but she refused to complete it and even accepted an A-rank mission in front of everyone. Later, she realized on her own that she couldn't complete the mission, so she defected. I see, the middle-aged man looked pensive. A D-rank mercenary actually went to accept an A-rank mission in order to refuse the Academy's compulsory mission? This was the same as serving her own life on a silver platter. However, in this kind of situation, after accepting an A-rank mission, you had to complete it. If you didn't succeed or didn't try to complete it, a light consequence could be getting expelled, but a heavy consequence could be getting severely punished by the Academy before being expelled. Chapter 1656, 1656. Either way, it would be better than being considered as a defector. I'll go and call the enforcers here, the middle-aged instructor said. Defected mercenaries like her had to be reported and turned over to Scarlet Flames Academy's Enforcement Council for judgment. Soon, the middle-aged instructor led several male enforcers there. A D-rank defected mercenary? The lead enforcer was startled when he saw Yuan Wan. He had seen many defected mercenaries, but this was probably the first time he heard of a D-rank defected mercenary. Zhang De immediately stepped forward and explained the entire situation to the enforcers. After learning about the details, the lead enforcer glanced at Yuan Wan and impatiently ordered, "Take her away." Several male enforcers swiftly went up to capture her. Hold on, everyone. Before Yuan Wan had the chance to do anything, an aloof voice rang out. Everyone looked behind them. A young mercenary was slowly walking toward them. Li Hanfeng. Elder Gong's disciple in name. No, I heard he was accepted as a personal disciple by Elder Gong a few days ago. Several veteran D-rank mercenaries were surprised when they saw the man. It's him, Yi Wanwan looked at Li Hanfeng. She saw this man a few days ago at the mission issuance area. She didn't expect to see him again today. May I ask what everyone is doing? Li Hanfeng walked forward and asked Zhang De and the enforcers with a faint smile. You're Li Hanfeng. The lead enforcer assessed Li Hanfeng. That's right, Li Hanfeng replied genially. And, help me give my regards to Elder Gong, the lead enforcer said. This is a defected mercenary from our academy. We're about to take her away and interrogate her. Ha, that's a bit of a problem. She'd at least lose a layer of skin if she paid a visit to your enforcement council, Li Hanfeng replied. Li Hanfeng, what are you saying? The lead enforcer knitted his brows slightly. Not much. I'd just like everyone to show me a small courtesy and don't pursue this matter. How about it? Li Hanfeng asked. A small courtesy? Zhang De snorted. Li Hanfeng, you haven't become an S-rank mercenary student yet, but you're so arrogant already. I'm afraid your face isn't big enough for this. Zhang Zunyan's lips curled up. So what if it's Li Hanfeng? Does he think he can save a defected mercenary? Li Hanfeng, don't ask for trouble. An enforcer overlooked Li Hanfeng and moved to take Yi Wanwan away. I'm afraid none of you have the right to do anything to her. Don't blame me for not reminding you all to take responsibility for breaking the rules, Li Hanfeng nonchalantly replied with a smile. Breaking the rules? Zhang De and his cohort were all startled and looked at Li Hanfeng with confusion. What did he mean? Li Hanfeng, what are you trying to say? I'm telling you, she must be brought to the Enforcement Council to be investigated today even if the Emperor of Heaven himself came, let alone you. Zhang De coldly retorted. Is that so? The corners of Li Hanfeng's lips turned up, and he swept his eyes over Zhang De and his group. Then, what would you say if she's an elder's disciple? Everyone looked at each other, bewildered when they heard Li Hanfeng's words. An elder's disciple? Li Hanfeng, who's an elder's disciple? Are you saying this woman is an elder's disciple? The lead enforcer's expression shifted. Chapter 1657 Li Hanfeng dryly glanced at Zhang De and the others. That's right. The lead enforcer immediately turned to Zhang De. They never heard that they were capturing an elder's disciple. At Scarlet Flames Academy, even if an elder's disciple committed a serious wrong, the Enforcement Council had to obtain the responsible elder's permission before they could capture the disciple. If the elder didn't agree, the Enforcement Council didn't have the power to take that disciple away without permission. Only then did Yi Wanwan remember that the Scarlet Flames instructor who received her when she first entered Scarlet Flames Academy took her to the residence of one of the 4 elders at the academy, Elder Gong, and Elder Gong accepted her as a disciple in name. If it weren't for Li Hanfeng mentioning this matter today, Yi Wanwan probably would have forgotten it a long time ago. Zhang De, you never mentioned this woman was an elder's disciple. The lead enforcer promptly turned to Zhang De with a deep frown. Zhang De snorted. Do you think that's plausible in the slightest? Which elder would accept a new D-rank mercenary as a disciple? The enforcers all met each other's eyes. Zhang Da's words were reasonable. They had never heard of any elder from Scarlet Flames Academy accepting a D-rank mercenary as a disciple. Those elders themselves were absent of personal desires and placed all of their hopes on their disciples. Especially at Scarlet Flames Academy, the elders might look harmonious on the surface but they fought ferociously in private. There wasn't an elder who didn't hope for their disciples to defeat the other elders' disciples. Hence, why would they accept a D-rank mercenary as a disciple? There wasn't any logic to that. Li Hanfeng, say, you must have an unusual relationship with this defected mercenary. You want to protect her, so you claimed she's an elder's disciple. Do you know that you've committed a violation already? Zhang De coldly said to Li Hanfeng. Ha! Li Hanfeng smiled indifferently at him but didn't explain anything. Li Hanfeng, you said she's an elder's disciple, but whose disciple is she? Why didn't I know about this? The lead enforcer frowned lightly. If you don't believe me, you can take her away, but I've already said my piece, Li Hanfeng replied. Li Hanfeng, you said she's an elder's disciple. Tell us, which elder is she a disciple of? The lead enforcer asked. Elder Gong, he answered. Elder Gong. This junior sister is Elder Gong's disciple. How is that possible? Elder Gong is one of the 4 great elders at Scarlet Flames Academy, and his disciples have been seriously suppressed by the other elders' disciples in these past 2 years. Why would he accept a D-rank mercenary and ask for ridicule from the other elders? Many nearby mercenaries discussed wildly. Ha ha ha. You're saying she's the disciple of Elder Gong, Li Hanfeng? Zhang De was teeming with mockery. Are you kidding me? Elder Gong was renowned for being cold inside and out at Scarlet Flames Academy. He absolutely wouldn't accept a disciple easily. Especially since Elder Gong's beloved disciple, Worryless Nya, swept across Scarlet Flames Academy many years ago and became the Academy's legend. After Worryless Nya disappeared, Elder Gong's archenemy, another elder, accepted Nya Linglong as his disciple. From then on, Nya Linglong personally broke the records created by Worryless Nya back then one after another and became the Academy's new legend. This was also the exact reason that Elder Gong's archenemy stepped above Elder Gong and stripped away many powers that should have belonged to Elder Gong. Hence, this matter was related to Elder Gong's own face and dignity. There was no way Elder Gong would accept a D-rank mercenary as a disciple. Chapter 1658. Yuanwan reeled from shock when she heard everyone's discussion. Her freebie master was actually Worryless Nya's first teacher at Scarlet Flames Academy. Didn't that mean Elder Gong was actually her master? Yuanwan also heard people mentioning how her departure back then afflicted too great a blow to Elder Gong. Furthermore, Nya Linglong continued to break every record that Worryless Nya created, causing Elder Gong's archenemy to belittle him and step above him. Yuanwan's veins bulged on her forehead. Back then, she actually brought a thankless wretch home who kept everyone in the dark. What elder's disciple? A load of bullshit. Take her away for a detailed investigation, an exceptionally good-looking woman said after a glance at Yuanwan as she slowly walked toward them with an indifferent expression. Several high-ranked mercenaries were astonished by the woman's appearance. Meng Ku, Scarlet Flames Academy's new superstar and prodigy. Shortly after entering the academy, she completed 2 S-rank missions. She was the pearl of the Meng family's patriarch and was accepted as a personal disciple by Elder Gong's archenemy. Furthermore, she was Scarlet Flames Academy's new legend and Nya Linglong's direct junior sister. Yuanwan turned to Meng Ku. She saw this girl before when she participated in the entrance examination. She was an extremely conceited and prideful person. Meng Ku glanced at Li Hanfeng but didn't start a conversation. Why are you just standing around? Arrest her and interrogate her severely, Meng Ku said aloofly. Zhang De sneered and was about to instruct the enforcers to act when an expressionless elderly man wearing a brocade shirt suddenly appeared. Master, Li Hanfeng hastily walked forward and reverently greeted Elder Gong as he bowed at Elder Gong. N. Elder Gong glanced at Li Hanfeng and made a noise in response. Damn, this elderly man is Elder Gong. One of 4 great elders at Scarlet Flames Academy, an old legend of Scarlet Flames Academy, Worryless Nya's first teacher. I've heard about the 4 great elders, but I've been at Scarlet Flames Academy for so long and have never seen them once. For a D-rank mercenary like you, you would need to burn some incense to even see an elder's disciple. But you want to see an elder? Some veteran D-rank mercenaries wildly conversed after seeing Elder Gong. Damn! This junior sister can't really be Elder Gong's disciple, right? I think it's impossible. Strange, Elder Gong has been terribly suppressed by his archenemy these past few years due to his disciples, so why would he accept a D-rank mercenary? Wouldn't he just be suppressed even more harshly by his archenemy? Elder Gong, why did you come? The lead enforcer turned to Elder Gong in surprise. However, Elder Gong didn't respond. He looked at the nearby Yi Wanwan and said, "Come here." Okay, Yi Wanwan reflexively walked to Elder Gong's side and called, "Master." She couldn't help examining this seemingly lonely elderly man in closer detail. So he was her master at Scarlet Flames Academy back then. Everyone at Scarlet Flames Academy knew about Elder Gong's fondness for worryless Nye. It was precisely because of this that Elder Gong was angered to the point of coughing blood when Nye Linglong became his archenemy's disciple and intentionally broke worryless Nye's records. For some reason, grief weighed down on Yi Wanwan when she looked at the elderly man before her. "I heard you wanted to apprehend my disciple." Elder Gong swept his eyes over the enforcers, Zhang De, and the others, and his aloof voice was akin to thunder. Zhang De was shocked and incredulous, and Zhang Zunyan next to him also looked panicked. Chapter 1659, 1659. Zhang Zunyan never imagined this woman was actually Elder Gong's disciple. If he knew Yi Wanwan was Elder Gong's disciple, he absolutely wouldn't have provoked her easily. "Elder Gong, this student really is your disciple?" The lead enforcer looked at Yi Wanwan with surprise evident in his face. "Do I need to repeat myself?" Elder Gong aloofly asked while looking at him. "Elder Gong, that's not what I meant." The lead enforcer shook his head and wanted to say something else but refrained. Even if Yi Wanwan was Elder Gong's disciple, it would probably be difficult to protect her completely since she defected. Even if she's an elder's disciple, she can't escape from the academy's punishment after committing an offense like this. At that moment, the previously silent Meng Ku expressionlessly interjected. Elder Gong's icy gaze landed on Meng Ku. "Young one, are you speaking to me?" Meng Ku's brows knitted. She felt like a giant mountain was pressing on her, even breathing was a bit difficult. "Ha!" Suddenly, an elderly man in gold robes slowly walked toward them and stopped next to Meng Ku. When Meng Ku saw the gold-robed elderly man, her expression shifted, and she hastily bowed and cupped her fists. "Master." "Greetings, Elder Lei He." The enforcers, Zhang De, and the others all hastily saluted when they saw the gold-robed elderly man. Zhang De especially sighed in relief internally. Elder Lei He was also one of Scarlet Flames Academy's 4 great elders. Moreover, he was Elder Gong's archenemy. After worryless Nye disappeared and Nye Linglong enrolled in Scarlet Flames Academy, Nye Linglong became Elder Lei He's disciple and personally broke every single one of worryless Nye's records at Scarlet Flames Academy under Elder Lei He's guidance, causing Elder Gong to spit out blood from anger. Especially in the past few years, nearly all of Elder Lei He's disciples effortlessly suppressed Elder Gong's disciples. A cold glint surfaced in Elder Gong's eyes upon seeing Lei He. He and Lei He enrolled in Scarlet Flames Academy at the same time when they were young. Lei He was handsome with a tall build in his youth, and he took advantage of Elder Gong's absence from the academy one time and defiled his beloved wife. Elder Gong's beloved wife felt like she had wronged him and committed suicide not long after. Yet, Lei He vehemently claimed that it was Elder Gong's beloved wife who seduced him herself. The Academy and Elder Gong didn't have any evidence, and Lei He had already become Scarlet Flames Academy's pillar by that time, so they dropped the matter. More than 20 years ago, Elder Gong sought Lei He out for revenge after getting drunk and evoked the first of many internal disputes at Scarlet Flames Academy. In the end, Elder Gong couldn't use his full strength due to his intoxication, and the matter concluded with Elder Gong injured. Elder Gong, you're at least one of Scarlet Flames Academy's 4 great elders. Just because your disciple is useless doesn't mean you can show up yourself and bully my disciple. Lei He glanced at Elder Gong and snorted. Elder Lei He. Elder Gong's disciple defected from the academy, Zhang De quietly explained. Lei He smirked when he heard that. Disciple. Elder Gong, this D-rank mercenary disciple of yours is rather capable. She even dared to do something like defect. Defecting was taboo at the academy. Even the headmaster himself couldn't protect his disciple if his disciple defected from the academy, let alone the mere disciple of an elder. Following Elder Gong and Elder Lei's appearance, the matter was exacerbated and alarmed many of the academy's higher-ups, including the Enforcement Council's president and many elders. Chapter 1660. As the number of higher-ups present grew, the sneer on Lei's face grew. He wanted to see how Elder Gong would settle this matter. Elder Gong, why did you accept a D-rank mercenary as a disciple? Elder Gong, no matter what, since your disciple committed a betrayal, she must be punished accordingly. Many higher-ups piped in. Elder Gong frowned slightly and turned to Yi Wanwan to ask, Wanwan, what's going on? Did you betray the academy? Yi Wanwan shook her head minutely. Master, someone is purely trying to frame me on purpose. I didn't defect from the academy at all. Humph, what an enormous joke. Say, why would I, an instructor of Scarlet Flames, frame a tiny D-rank mercenary like you? Zhang De glanced at Yi Wanwan derisively. Ha! Yi Wanwan stared at Zhang De, the corners of her lips turning up in an icy smile. Since you do know that I'm a D-rank mercenary, please tell me why I, a D-rank mercenary, would defect instead of just immediately dropping out from the academy? At Scarlet Flames Academy, only mercenary students who have been promoted to B-rank and above aren't permitted to drop out and can only defect. If a D-rank mercenary like me wanted to leave, why didn't I drop out? Why did I defect? Do you have a brain? You, Zhang De pointed at Yi Wanwan. Insolence. How could you speak to an instructor like this? It'd be absolutely normal for a person disrespectful of their superiors and possessing strange thinking like you to do something atrocious like defecting. Disrespectful of my superiors? Yi Wanwan looked astonished. Are you referring to yourself when you say superiors? Strange, I paid money to come to this academy to study. Yet, a low-ranking instructor like you robs D-rank mercenaries money but won't properly teach us and frames and admonishes your bread and butter in all sorts of ways instead. Why does Scarlet Flames Academy have vermin like you? You. Zhang De pointed at Yi Wanwan, his face alternating between red and white. There had never been a D-rank mercenary who dared to speak to him like this. What? Yi Wanwan's eyes swept over the D-rank mercenaries around them. See for yourself. There are so many senior brothers and sisters here. Some of them have been at Scarlet Flames Academy for 4 or 5 years but are still D-rank mercenaries to this day. Aren't you the reason why? Many veteran D-rank mercenaries nodded in agreement. That's right. I've been a D-rank mercenary for 3 freaking years now. I haven't learned that much, but I pay so much money every year and can't even rise to C rank. My family members all say that I'm a martial arts prodigy and learn everything quickly, so it definitely isn't my problem. Humph, look, I've been here 5 years already, but I'm still a D-rank mercenary. Some Scarlet Flames instructors only make an effort to teach things after privately accepting some incentives. If you don't give them any incentives, they might even make life hard for you. I think this junior sister is completely right. Although everyone was full of resentment, they didn't dare to loudly discuss it and only whispered amongst themselves. Elder Gong, your disciple's tongue is as sharp as a needle. As a student of the academy, she publicly talked back to an instructor and even claimed an instructor framed her. She's a bit too insolent, isn't she? An elderly higher-up coldly interjected. Ha, the apple seriously doesn't fall far from the tree, Leihi snorted. Elder Gong, we know you were very furious after worryless Nye disappeared and her records were broken by Nye Linglong, but Elder Leihi is truly better than you in teaching his disciples. You really don't need to randomly accept some terrible disciples and let yourself go like this, an elderly woman said while looking at Elder Gong. Chapter 1661, Seniors, why do you need to waste your breath? Even if Elder Gong is an elder and his disciple committed a wrong, he can't act impartially. Even if the headmaster protects her, she'd still need to be punished, Meng Ke coldly said. Seize her, Leihi ordered the enforcers. The enforcers promptly encircled Yi Wanwan and made to capture her in one move. Let me see who'd dare. Yu Wanwan shouted severely. What? You think someone like you can resist? Meng Ke glanced at her. Who do you think you are? Yu Wanwan's gaze landed on Meng Ke. What did you say? A chilly glint flitted through Meng Ke's eyes. However, Yu Wanwan ignored Meng Ke and turned to Lei He and the other higher-ups instead. She snorted and said, You Scarlet Flames Academy higher-ups are seriously shameless. All the higher-ups present were startled. Ever since Scarlet Flames Academy was established, no one had dared to publicly insult the Academy's higher-ups and elders aside from Wurlisnya. This woman was the second person to do so. Not only that, but she was also a mere D-rank mercenary. You deserve to be killed for your offense of disrespect. Zhang De yelled. Screw your offense of disrespect. Yu Wanwan rolled her eyes. You claiming that I defected is an act of slander and you're creating rumors. If I'm condemned by chance, you'd be committing homicide. Killing your own academy's mercenary is considered eliciting internal strife and betraying the academy. I'm asking you, which offense is greater? Before the higher-ups and elders could respond, Elder Gong turned to Yu Wanwan and said, Wanwan, you're saying you didn't defect and were wronged? That's right, Master. Yu Wanwan nodded. Ha, what a cosmic joke. You're saying you didn't defect. Do you have proof? An old woman asked. Ha, what a cosmic joke. You're saying I defected. Do you have proof? Yu Wanwan glanced at the old woman. The old woman trembled with anger. My words are proof. Zhang De shouted. Really? Why don't you shoot into the heavens then? Even the headmaster isn't as tyrannical as a low-ranking instructor like you. It was clearly because I discovered you had shady dealings with a higher-up from Stars and Sun Academy. Is that why you wanted to frame me in retaliation? Yu Wanwan snorted. Who's having shady dealings with Stars and Sun Academy? Don't talk bullshit. Zhang De angrily glared at Yu Wanwan. Stars and Sun Academy and Scarlet Flames Academy had always been archenemies. This kind of offense wasn't a joke. You have shady dealings with Stars and Sun Academy's higher-ups, so you wanted to silence me permanently, Yu Wanwan retorted aloofly. Do you have proof? Zhang De questioned. My words are proof. Yu Wanwan returned his original words to him. You little sharp-tongued bastard. Zhang De was livid from rage. Oh, I wouldn't dare to be a little bastard. I'm at least better than you, an old bastard. Yu Wanwan was all smiles. Wanwan, if you have proof, then show everyone. With Master here, you don't need to be afraid of anyone, Elder Gong said next to her. Yu Wanwan immediately told the whole story to Elder Gong. Master, I finished the A-rank missions, so I didn't defect at all, Yu Wanwan added with a smile. As soon as she said that, all the higher-ups, including Lei He and Elder Gong, all wore odd expressions. A D-rank mercenary claimed she finished an A-rank mission. Chapter 1662, You finished an A-rank mission? Elder Gong frowned lightly. This wasn't something she could joke about. Elder Gong, did you personally teach this disciple her bragging skills yourself? Where did a mere D-rank mercenary get the guts to run her mouth off here? Lei He indifferently said while looking at Elder Gong. Master, your ability at bragging truly can't compare to Elder Gong's, Meng Ke piped in. As Yu Wanwan watched the master and disciple's echoing act, she grew increasingly indignant on Elder Gong's behalf. She immediately turned to Elder Gong. Master, look, your quality truly can't compare to Elder Lei He. After all, Elder Lei He brings his disciple in tow even when mocking someone. Their ability to echo each other is much stronger than ours. Unlike them, we find it shameful. Lei He and Meng Ke both coldly stared at Yu Wanwan. Elder Gong didn't look any different. He said to her, Wanwan, you can't speak dishonestly about finishing an A-rank mission. If you have evidence that proves you completed an A-rank mission, Master will definitely seek justice for you. Yuanwan smiled faintly and pulled out the mission slip in the next second, displaying it in front of everyone. A-rank mission, defeat Big Dipper from the Fearless Alliance. After seeing the slip, a wave of mocking snickers swept through the crowd again without any surprise. However, these snickers were directed at Elder Gong, not Yuanwan. At Scarlet Flame's Academy, Elder Gong normally didn't give any leniency and conducted business brusquely and strictly, not stepping a single centimeter off the line. Hence, he offended many higher-ups, so these higher-ups took advantage of Yuanwan's matter and used it to suppress Elder Gong. No one actually cared whether Yuanwan truly defected, this was a game of power amongst Scarlet Flame's higher-ups. The Fearless Alliance. Ha, Elder Gong, isn't your disciple too cute? Big Dipper is President Fearless capable left arm and confidant, the old woman ridiculed from her position next to Elder Leahy. Say, Elder Gong, does your disciple also know that her crime of defection is inescapable, so it's like she's smashing a pot to pieces just because it's cracked? Defeating Big Dipper of the Fearless Alliance? By just a mere D-rank mercenary like her? Leahy gave his disciple, Meng Ku, a look. Meng Ku instantly said aloofly, Ha, you claim you completed the A-rank mission of defeating Big Dipper. Sure, take out your proof. Doesn't the mission say you need a video for proof? Yuanwan, the video. Elder Gong looked at Yuanwan. Yuanwan nodded and searched around her pockets. Her expression abruptly shifted. Shoot. I lost my phone, and the videos saved on the phone. Loud guffaws broke out from the crowd. Even the high-ranked mercenaries in the distance were clutching their stomachs from laughing. Wasn't the excuse of losing her phone too ridiculous? However, Elder Gong's expression remained unchanged, as though it was within his expectations. After all, his disciple in-name was merely a D-rank mercenary, so how could she finish an A-rank mission, especially one related to the Fearless Alliance? I'm Big Dipper of the Fearless Alliance. Whose mercenary are you to dare to challenge me? In the midst of everyone's guffaws, Yuanwan took out her phone and held it up with a wicked look. The phone was playing a video. Near the Fearless Alliance's headquarters, an extremely ugly woman's figure was akin to wild gales while her aura was akin to a terrifying tsunami. In less than 2 rounds, the ugly woman sent Big Dipper crashing to the ground with a kick and stepped on his fallen figure. I didn't lose my phone, I was lying to you. Yuanwan smirked, you're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.